Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vedya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Maritvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Puneet, will you be our chanter tonight?
Yes.
And where are we in our text?
We're on number 14 on page 104.
Page 104, verse 14.
Murten Chameka Kadachida Yanta Madhyam Nachame Kadachid Balabalam Mitra Katham Vadami Swarupa Nirvana Manamayoham. Never. Oh, should I read the 15th verse? I'm going to chant the 14th. Jitendriyoham Tvajtendriyo va Nasanyamo me niyamo na jataha Jaya jayo mitra katham vadami Swarupa nirvana manamayoham. Neither have I conquered the senses, nor have I conquered them. Self-restraint or discipline never occurred to me. Friend, how shall I speak of victory and defeat? I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
Yes. So, again, there's the paradox here. All of these things to which he's referring are part of our sadhana. So what was the first idea?
Conquered the senses, nor have I not conquered them.
Yes. So in our yoga, we want to achieve that place where we are no longer compulsively extroverted by sensory perception. So again, this is not a text for beginners. It's not saying, don't bother to do this. And we just rationalize the tyranny of our extroversion. But we achieve this yoga rudha from that I see I am never touched by sensory data. I have nothing to gain by letting it go. I have nothing to lose by allowing it. What is the mark of the person of steady wisdom? They are identified with that form of pure consciousness, Chidananda Rupa. Here he says his form has been extinguished or blown out, meaning that personal sense of self is gone. And repeating what Swamiji used to thunder at us, the way to heal the mind is to get out of the mind. You can wrestle with the thoughts all you want. Get out. Fundamentally see the unreality of the mind. Then the mind settles down. In Gita, Krishna says the mind is the enemy of the person in ignorance, but it's the friend of the woman or man of knowledge. Same mind. All has to do with the way you look at it. And what's the refrain? My form has been extinguished. What's the Sanskrit there? Swarupa
Nirvanam.
Swarupa Nirvanam, yes. Swarupa, Swa means self, Rupa means form. My form has been extinguished, meaning no personal sense of self is real. Drop it. If I think I'm a person, I'm deluded. Drop it. Don't get entangled in the struggle of ego. Ego wants to fix the person. Jnana Yoga says, drop the struggle. Drop the struggler. Any thoughts on this? Next verse. I think you already read the Sanskrit. Just go back to the English. 15?
Yeah, 15. Never have I form nor absence of form. Never any beginning, middle, or end. Friend, how shall I speak of strength and weakness? I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
Yes. So I don't need to beat up the nasty old matter. Do you have a dream body? Does it exist? This meat lump is no different. Conjured by imagination. Certainly a vivid experience. But you are other than that body. Never touched by it. The form has been extinguished, meaning this jiva bhavana, this feeling that I am a person. Next one.
Mritamritam vapi vishavisham cha sanjayate tata name kadache ashuddha shuddham cha katham vadami swarupa nirvana manamayoham. Never, my child, Did I have death or deathlessness, poison or poisonlessness? How shall I speak of the pure and the impure? I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
Yes. So the body dies, but the soul never dies. You know, we give up all that thinking. Oh, don't get caught up in the poison of sense attachment. Oh, I have this terrible problem. I have a shadow that's attached to me. It afflicts me. Wherever I go, it chases me. No. Who is concerned about the length or shortness of his shadow? Who gets upset if her shadow falls in the gutter? Give up your concern for the upadhis, the equipments. Extinguish this personal sense of self. And I love that he uses the term nirvana, which means blown out, literally. And the idea is a lamp or a candle. So the mind is that flame that's ever generating, always burning. And what is its fuel? Sense, perception, force of the past. Gimme, 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 gimme. I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when. For the woman or man of knowledge. Next one.
So, na prabodho na cha yoga mudra naktam devavapi na me kadachet aturya turyam cha katham vadami swarupa nirvanam anamayoham. Never have I sleep or awakening. Never do I practice concentration or hand posture. For me, there is neither day nor night. How should I speak of the transcendental and relative states? I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
So let's go into a little bit of these because they're interesting. So the first idea.
Never have I sleep or awakening.
So Swamiji, a lot of the disciples, when I first started hanging out with them, used to say, oh, Swamiji never sleeps. Never sleeps. I sleep. Swamiji never sleeps. But that's not what he said. He said, I never sleeps. It is only the mind that goes through waking, dream, and deep sleep states. Now, he didn't sleep very much. He slept about 4 hours a night. And he took a nap in the afternoon. But that's not what the teaching means. It doesn't mean that you're awake all night. It means the self is the witness of waking, dream, and deep sleep. And I've given up being concerned about it. Next idea.
Never do I practice concentration or hand posture.
Yes. So mudra, or what's the word he's using for concentration?
Yoga.
Yoga, okay. So the point here being, there is nothing to be gained by practices. Now, The seeker does yoga, does spiritual practice, so that they may purify the mind and realize their self-nature. For the man or woman of knowledge, no matter how much meditation they do, how much fasting they do, they're not going to know more self. You either see it or you don't. And they may be seen to be doing spiritual practices because it's the highest form of worldly pleasure. That's all. And the self in me is not affected or touched by spiritual practices. Freedom comes by knowing Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Swarupa Nirvana, my form has been extinguished. Next idea. Turiya.
For me, there's neither day nor night.
Okay, day nor night. So this is again a reference to Gita, where in the Sthita Prajna Purusha section, Krishna says, for the yogi of steady wisdom, what is day to him is night to others, and what is day to others is night to him. Meaning he has this playground. This Atmanamana, which ordinary people don't know anything about. They're all caught up in cash and prizes in the world. The woman of knowledge. Now, give up this. Self is not engaged or involved with any of it. Is ever the witness of day and night. There was a very famous guru who was a disciple, I'm pretty sure, of Avadhuta, named Rudrananda, Rudy, in New York. Any of you heard of him? Yeah. You know, he ran a very successful antique business. He was a sannyasi, Rudrananda. He ran an antique business. Made money. I know. One of my friends from the Chinmaya mission, Swamini Radhikananda, owned $1 million piece of property in Florida. Now she's bought a condo, I think, in New Jersey. She's kind of retired from that place. Other people own nothing. There are no rules for the person with steady wisdom. And the last idea, there's not turiya or aturiya.
How shall I speak of transcendental and relative states?
So these, read the Sanskrit, it's turiya, aturiya.
Yes.
So turiya is a reference that comes from the Mandukya Upanishad. Means the fourth. The classic explanation of this is Om is divided into Chatushpada, 4 quarters. A, U, Ma, and silence. A stands for the waking state. U for the dream state. Ma for the deep sleep state. And the silence for the Turiya, the 4th. Now, Some people think it's a wackadoodle mind state. I went into deep meditation and I was rocketed into the fourth plane of consciousness. Turiya. No. It is fourth in the series of discussion. But the fourth, the silence, is chit. It's pure awareness in which waking, dream, and deep sleep occur. Some yogis define Turiya as a mind state. Gaudapada and Shankara view it differently, like I just said. Point is, you don't achieve, attain, or become Turiya. Another name for you. When are you ever not you? All right, next verse.
Samviddhi mam sarva visarva muktam maya vimaya na chame kadachit sandhyadikam karma katham vadami swarupa nirvanam anamayoham. Know me as free from the all and from the details composing the all. I have neither illusion nor freedom from illusion. How shall I speak of such rituals as morning and evening devotions? I am free from disease, my form has been extinguished.
So I like the paradigm that Kshemaraja sets out in the Recognition Sutras. He talks about consciousness having 5 powers, and the self is always beyond them. The first is a originating power. Thought arises. The second is a sustaining power, Vishnu. I can continue to think along a certain train of thought. The third is the dissolving or the destructive power. I finish that thought idea. Then there's a veiling power. What do we mean about that? Now, I haven't seen the news today. I came home late from the symphony, I haven't turned on the news. I do not know what's happened today in the news. Veiling power. Not just when we have veiling power of the self, but in anything. And revealing power. After you guys all leave, I'll probably make myself a little bit of dinner, and at 10 o'clock, I'll turn on the news. See what happened today. Why is it important to see this? Do not be concerned if you forget the self. Oh, the scriptures tell me I'm supposed to be mindful of who I am all day long. Aham brahmasmi. Oh, I forgot it. I was brushing my teeth and I forgot to turn my mind towards the self. So what? The Zen Buddhists call this mirror wiping. Yes, at a particular level of our practice, Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, tune up the mind, keep it in deep meditation. That mirror of the mind, when it's free from dust, you can see who you are very clearly. But if you're an ordinary mind, you do not disappear. I don't know if I've shared with you the story of Damayanti. I think you've heard it. So once upon a time, there was this princess, Damayanti, and she was fond of going down to this pool near the palace. And it was always very still, and she'd look into the pool and she'd see her reflection. She was a very beautiful princess. And she'd comb her long black hair. One day she comes down to gaze at her reflection in the pool, and there's a breeze. And the surface of the pool is rippled. And she has this thought, I can't see my face in the pool. Oh my gosh, I don't have a head. That's like you and me saying, I don't know who I am. So she goes back up to the palace and she's quite agitated. She runs around the halls. I've lost my head. I don't have a head. And the ministers come to Damayanti and they say, Your Grace, your head is on top of your shoulders where it's always been. It's you who sees the phone. I do. That's yourself. So she's so hysterical, they decide to tie her to a pillar. That's called sitting in meditation. So she struggles and struggles and struggles and struggles, and finally she settles down. And another minister says, Damayanti, dear, your head is on top of your shoulders where it's always been. No, I don't have a head. Another one of the ministers, that's Shravana when we hear the scriptures from the teacher or read the scriptures. And I still think, I do not know. Then a clever minister comes up and he has a stick and he hits her on the head. She goes, ouch! And he says, that's your head, stupid. So at some auspicious moment, the mind will stop. We clearly see Swarupa Nirvanam. My form is blown out. It's not there. So they untie Damayanti. And then she runs around the palace. I have a head. Oh, wondrous am I. Better than anybody else because I know I have a head. And this is what they call enlightenment sickness or second mind, when you think you're somehow special because you know the self. And then she stops and she looks around and she sees the ministers going to and fro and the army generals going hither and thither and the queens and the princes. And she realizes that every single one of them has a head. So finally, she returns to sanity. So what's the point of the story? Yes. Keep the mirror free from dust until you clearly see who you are. Then understand the mind is essentially an illusion. It's nowhere standing. And whether your mind is tuned up in meditation and samadhi, Well, you're functioning in the world. So you get triggered. So what? Do you beat yourself up if you've had a bad dream in the morning? Oh, I'm a good yogi. I only have good dreams. I'm a bad yogi. I had a bad dream. Nobody thinks that. Oh, I must have eaten some weird spicy food. I had the strangest dream last night. Because we know it's not real. So the mind just goes through these 5 powers. And that includes veiling and revealing. Listen carefully. None of them touch yourself. Don't try to be an enlightened person. It's very burdensome. Instead, extinguish that swarup. No, you are Brahman. Any thoughts or questions about this? All right, next verse.
Samvidhi mam sarva samadhi yuktam, samvidhi mam laksha vilaksha muktam, yogam viyogam cha katham vadami, swarupa nirvanam anamayoham. Know me as endowed with all concentration. Know me as free from any relative or ultimate aim. How shall I speak of union and separation? I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
So know me is endowed with, what is he using the word samadhi for concentration?
Samadhi.
Yeah. So what he's talking about here is the 2 ways we interpret nirvikalpa samadhi. The scriptures describe nirvikalpa samadhi as that state where knower, knowing, and known are merged into one. So if you practice Raja Yoga at the acme of your practice, higher levels, dharana, concentration, dhyana, meditation, they culminate in the absolute quiescence of samadhi. It's like deep sleep in the sense that there is no triple factor, no knower, knowing, and known. It is unlike deep sleep because you're totally you, awake. Some people get all caught up chasing samadhi. Now, I'll tell you how to achieve nirvikalpa samadhi. It's the removal of vasana that holds the mind in place. Don't chase samadhi trying to stop your mind. Renounce, renounce, renounce. And then the mind will slip into samadhi. But the purpose of samadhi is to reveal your essential nature. Those of us who've studied Tripura Rahasyam, quite a long section where they say there's Prakasha, the light of pure awareness, and Vimarsha, the deliberation of the mind. Anytime the mind is free from deliberation, That's samadhi. When the last thought is thoughted before the next thought is thoughting. And if you're attentive and your mind is inwardly directed, you will see who you are. That's the point of it. Now, the other definition of nirvikalpa. Are you you? How do you know it? I don't know, I just know it. Who knows that I do? What's the means of knowledge? Me. What's that which is known? Me. So knower, knowing, and known are merged into one as your constant, eternal experience of I. And if the mind and the intellect and the world are fundamentally illusory, why be concerned about them? Shankara says, not I am in nirvikalpa. He says, aham nirvikalpo. I am nirvikalpa. But don't worry too much about samadhi. Any thoughts on this? Very important point. There is a value to attaining nirvikalpa. Shankara teaches it. Swamiji taught it. Other Vedantins do not. My view, it's valuable, but it's not achieved by gripping the mind. It's achieved as a function of renunciation. And again, anytime the mind is free from vimarsha, deliberation, you're in samadhi. It doesn't have to be hours long. So if you tune up the mind and introvert your attention, or do the exercise I do so frequently, listen to the traffic. And notice who hears it. Even if you get just this flash, oh, there's nothing there. That's all the samadhi you need. Some jnanis, by the result of tapas in this life or tapas done in other lives, are fond of samadhi, have long periods of samadhi. But don't make samadhi your goal. Make knowledge of yourself your goal. All right, enough on samadhi. What was the next idea?
Know me as free from any relative or ultimate aim.
Yes. So the mark of the person of steady wisdom is there no longer is anything to do. Oftentimes when you're around spiritual seekers, you'll hear this adage. Well, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. You know, I'm always seeking. I'm a seeker. That's my identity. Vedanta says, nope. It is possible to go beyond seeking. There is a journey's end. And in that end, there's nothing left to do. Next idea.
How shall I speak of union and separation?
Yeah. So this is interesting. What does the word yoga mean? It means union. Well, what gets united with what? Listen carefully. Yourself does not get united with God. Oh, I'm working very hard. I have read books about the value of having a human body. So I'm working very hard. I go to the gym so I can have a human body. How can you achieve or attain or become united with what you already are? Now, if you want to know where happiness is in the world, it is the mind yoked to the self. Again, at a previous class, I think we've done it in this class, I like to show the wonderful picture image of Hanuman embracing Lord Ram. That's yoga. Hanuman's the mind. It's powerful. It can do anything. Hanuman carries mountains, fly through the air. That's what the mind does. But where does it find satisfaction? Find satisfaction in the embrace of the infinite. And sometimes you're busy doing the dishes. You're still never separated from yourself. Were you ever not you? Is that all the ideas in this one?
Yes.
All right, next verse.
Murko pinaham na cha panditoham maunam vinmaunam na cha me kadachit tarka vitarka cha katham vadami swarupa nirvanam anamayoham. I am neither ignorant nor learned. I observe neither silence nor absence of silence. How shall I speak of argument and counter-argument? I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
And again, he's talking about various things we get in the scripture. So let's break it down. The first idea.
I'm neither ignorant nor learned.
Yes. So, in Vivekachudamani, Shankara says, without knowledge of the self, study of the scriptures is futile. Why? You'll superimpose your own stupid ideas on it. Get lost in the commentaries. Then he says, with knowledge of the self, study of the scriptures is again futile. Why? You've become an Upanishad. You have no need of the scriptures. There's nothing to be gained. Excessive study of the scripture provides a little material satisfaction to the scholar. Now, let me push back on what I just said. If you have teaching karma, and you think you want to share this work with others, it is of value to be learned in the scriptures. Why? The scriptures are a bridge for a person of knowledge to be able to share this with another person. It's a setu, it's a bridge. But that's its value from the standpoint of your own direct experience. Give up the scriptures. Now, you may enjoy reading them as worldly pleasure, but that's different than Shastra Vasana. I'm going to figure it out. If only I read enough books, if only I watch enough YouTube videos, I'm going to get it. Next idea. Learn to not learn it. What's the next one?
I observe neither silence nor absence of silence.
Oh, maunam. So maunam is a very good practice. Now, what can be annoying for the rest of us is when you're practicing maunam and you carry around a notepad or a little tablet and you're constantly writing crap on the thing. You're talking, you're just doing it in a very inefficient way. Real maunam is when you choose to guard your speech for a particular period of time. Doing something like 1 day a week, you're not going to answer your phone. You're not going to talk to anybody. Maybe for a morning, 1 day a week. Or subtler forms of it, only speak when someone addresses you, answer questions and stuff. Here's a really good one. Only give your opinion when someone asks for it. Now, after we've gotten some dominion over our compulsive diarrhea of the mouth, which many of us have, got an effing opinion on everything. And silence of speech makes no difference at all. Ramana Maharshi was absolutely silent for 11 years. He started to speak. Did not diminish his experience at all. Swamiji talk all the time. But if you turned up to him, he was so empty, shunya chitta. To be with him was mauna prasad, a great gift of silence. Whether he was talking. Next idea.
How shall I speak of argument and counter-argument?
Parika. So this is an age-old custom in India. So when we read stories of Shankara, as he went around the country, he would engage in tarka, argument with proponents of other philosophies. Now, the tradition was if you were vanquished in argument, you had to then go over and adopt the philosophy of the one who bested you in argument. I think you can actually see videos of Tibetans still do this. They walk around and they have this hand gesture that they do. It's kind of cool to watch them practice it. In Viveka Chudamani, again, Shankara says, who can argue for the scriptures and refute arguments against them. One understanding of this is Tarka, is this long tradition of groups of people getting together and arguing about it. Swamiji, in a sense, had a modern version of this. He'd come into a city and we would have a camp for 2-3 weeks, and then he would invite people to form a study group. And in the study group, we'd wrestle with the ideas, basically passing around our ignorance. But in the effort to try to explain it to others or share our understanding, we would get these ideas more clearly in our minds. Now, a deeper understanding of argument is the argument that takes place in our own minds. What is the argument? Most of our friends say, go after the world, get the brass ring, house, car, relationship, kids, 401k, stock portfolio, ski trip to Switzerland, more, better, different. And they are absolutely convinced that's what's going to make me happy. That's what's going to give me the esteem of my friends. And the yogi has to argue against that idea in his mind. No. Sannyasoham, sannyasoham, sannyasoham. Ounce, ounce. I need nothing. I'm content with what comes. I'm okay with what goes. I live with different values than the secular materials. This is what the scripture says available to attain to the supreme peace. Do I believe it or not? Arguments in your mind. But once you have some direct experience, you don't need any more convincing. And I always quote St. Francis, who said, wherever you go, preach the gospel, and if you must, use words. Who we are in the world speaks much louder than anything we say. You may have the God talk down, non-dual, blah, 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 non-dual, blah, blah, blah. But if you're screaming and yelling at your significant other or caught up in road rage, you're a hypocrite. It's not about the God talk. Any thoughts on this? Next idea? Is that all of the verse? Next verse.
Pita cha mata cha kulam na jate janmadi mrityun cha me kadache sneham vimoham cha katham vadami swarupa nirvanam anamayoham. Never do I have father, mother, family, caste, birth, and death. How shall I speak of affection and infatuation? I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
Yes. So, what about love, Jim? What about family, my parents, my significant others, or my insignificant others? Children? What about my duties in life, caste, creed, all that kind of stuff? Yoga says we must renounce it all. I have no relations, or I am intensely united with everyone. Not, this is my mommy, this is my daddy, that's my wife, that's my husband. Because we get attached. And as soon as we get attached to the idea, I have the power to make another person happy, God, that's a dangerous thought. You make me so happy. Because guess what happens when they get unhappy? You've made me so unhappy. It's your fault. If you would change, I would be happy. And if we're attached, we keep trying to dance the dance to please the other person. You shouldn't do this. Okay, I'll stop doing that. You should be doing that. Okay, I'll do that. And we're constantly hyper-vigilant. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? That's not freedom. Most people I know who have successful long-term relationships have come to a place of seeing, nope, my spouse isn't perfect, and they're never going to change. So I accept them. I quit trying to fix the other person. Oh, he's so perfect. All he needs is to fix and change this, that, and the other thing, and then it'll be really perfect. Never works. Other people may change, your spouse may change, but they will only change when they want to change for themselves, not for you and me. Never works. We have to let go. And our happiness is not dependent on the approval or disapproval of others. Cherish the people around you, because too soon the Lord snatches us away. You never know. I had lunch today with my dear friend, my Thursday Symphony partner. Now, granted, she's 86. And she had lunch last week with one of her oldest and dearest friends. They went out to lunch. 2 days later, she was dead. Weird. But it happens. Such is the drama, the dance of life. How many more verses do we have in this chapter?
4 more.
I think we can get them all done. All right, next one.
Astam gato naiva sadoditoham tejo vitejo nachame kadachit sandhyadikam karma katham vadami swarupa nirvanam anamayoham. Never do I disappear. I am ever manifest. Never do I have effulgence or absence of effulgence. How shall I speak of such rituals as morning and evening devotions? I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
Yes. So this is a very interesting one. The first idea again.
Never do I disappear. I am ever manifest.
Yes. So your self never stops. It never shuts off. You have never had an experience of no aham. Well, I don't remember before about the age of 4. I don't think I existed before I was born. Dudes, you don't remember what you did on the 17th of November a year ago. But you didn't cease to be. Memory doesn't verify existence. You are always here. Now, there are layers of interpretation here. There is a mind state that many of us get where I've done pretty well renouncing my attachments for the Lord. But I hang on to some unconscious, subtle aversions. And the way it translates into my mind is, oh, this samsara, this world is suffering. Even Buddha says this world is suffering. I can't wait till I get liberated so I don't have to come back anymore. What that all means of being liberated, of no longer being incarnate, layers and subtly. But what I want you to hold on to and think about, what if it's going to be just like this forever? What if the phenomenal world is eternally manifest? This is it. This is what's going to be for the rest of eternity. No escape. Now how are you going to live? Sannyasoham. 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 Answer's still the same. Give it the cosmic middle finger. Then the person in the body, out of the body, makes no difference. Very important point. Do not postpone the moksha. Next idea.
Never do I have effulgence or absence of effulgence.
Yes. I am the lighted being. Always shining prakash. Never shuts off. Next one, next idea.
How shall I speak of such rituals as morning and evening devotions?
Yes. So here, back to these constant notions about, do I need to do religious practices? Do them if you enjoy it. But there's nothing to be gained. Next idea.
That was the last one.
Excuse me, next verse.
Asanshayam vidhi nirakulam mam, sanshayam vidhi nirantaram mam, asanshayam vidhi niranjanam mam, swarupi nirvanam anama yoham. Know me beyond all doubt to be boundless. Know me beyond all doubt to be undivided. Know me beyond all doubt to be stainless. I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
So, know me beyond all doubt. One of the things that Vedanta does is it endeavors to resolve all our doubts. Until we get to the point where we renounce the doubter. We slay the terrible demon, yeah, but what about this gym? Yeah, but what about that gym? Yeah, but what about that? Stop it. Mind's questions are numberless. Give it up. Next one.
Dhyānāni sarvāni parityajanti, shubha shubham karma parityajanti, Tyagamritam tata pidvanti dhiraha, swarupa nirvanam anamayoham. The wise, my child, give up all meditations. They give up all good and evil deeds and drink the nectar of renunciation. I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished.
So give up all the practices to achieve, accomplish, acquire, relinquish, all of that. Drink the nectar of renunciation. Again, those of us who studied Tripura Rahasyam, there's the story of the king whose wife is realized and she shows up in the forest in the form of Kumbha, a young Brahmin. She knows that, oh, he won't listen to a woman, so she's going to change herself into a young boy. You got to renounce. He said, oh, well, I have renounced. I renounced my kingdom. I'm sitting here in the forest. Not enough. All right, I'll give up my religious practices, my hut. I'll run around naked, sky-clad. She says, not enough. He said, okay, I'll give up the body. I'm going to go jump off the cliff. She says, not enough. He says, what then can I renounce? And Kumbha's answer is, renounce the mind. When you've renounced the mind, you've renounced all. What do we mean by renouncing the mind? I cannot think a real thought. No thought is real, including the one I just thought. All thought, without exception, is shunya. That's the only renunciation we need. And one more verse or two?
One more.
One more.
No, actually, two more. Sorry. No, one more. Never mind. Vindati vindati nahi nahi yatra chando lakshanam nahi nahi yatra samara samagno bhavita putah pralapati tattvam param avadhuta. There is verily no versification where one knows nothing. The Supreme and Free One, absorbed in the consciousness of the homogeneous being and pure of thought, prattles about the truth.
So this beautiful Avadhuta Gita, meaning it's a song, meaning it's written in verse. Whatever we can say about it is just prattling. It's abhyapadesham. It's untalked about. That's the end of the chapter?
Yes.
We'll end here tonight. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Tat Sat.